All righty. Insider betting. Let's go. All right, guys. If you're tuning in, we appreciate you tuning in. My name's Adam. I got Jesse Rowe here with me today. Today we got a lot to cover. No UFC, but there is PFL tomorrow night. And the bigger story is Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. But to start, Jesse, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing very well, and I just realized I forgot to put up the overlay with our predictions. So sorry. So yeah, this is the Haney Garcia predictions episode. That was super high tech. I'm clearly I've got a handle on this thing. So I'm excited. I just got done watching the Garcia Haney press conference, and it was wild. So whoops, there it is. There's the stream popping up on my. Oh, I can hear it.
Can you hear that? Funny. No, I can't. I can't. It's just you. It is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to fully watch it yet, but I saw some of the clips, and it looks like Ryan Garcia had a lot of fun with it. I'm excited.
It was wild, and it got me a little bit more intrigued by the fight. It was a little bit crazy, but it was also a good kind of crazy. We're like, all right, I'm actually excited for this now. This is fun. So yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's do it. To start, let's dive into the PFL because I think everyone here is going to want to talk about Haney Garcia. So we'll save the best for last. Pretty big card, I'd say, this weekend for the PFL. I believe it's their third of the season of the 2024 season. And yeah, we got since the Bellator PFL debut, there's a lot of fighters making their since the Bellator and PFL merge. There's a lot of fighters making their PFL debuts. So it's pretty exciting to see. But to start off, we got Bubba Jenkins versus Kai Kamaka the third. Jenkins is coming in as a minus 155 favorite, and then we got Kai as a plus 130. What are your thoughts? Let's start it there.
Well, this is tough for me because I don't know much. I know Bubba Jenkins. I don't know much about Kai Kamaka, so I don't want to give too much advice that would be like misleading here. He's only a plus 130, or he's a plus 130. So Kai is getting the value, but he's the younger fighter. It looks like I'm looking at your notes here. It says that he's 29 and Bubba's 36.
Yeah, that's
so.
It.
I feel like generally in those sorts of situations, I'm just going to take the younger fighter when I don't know who they are. That would be my analysis on this. But Bubba Jenkins is a veteran, so that's probably why he's a favorite. I'd flip a coin. I'm probably not going to bet on it, but if I did, I would probably go with the younger guy and take the value at Kamaka.
I agree. After old man Volk, fighters not doing well after the age of 35, I think is the statistic,
Right.
Volk laughed about it, but it ended up being somewhat true, I guess. I do favor the younger one being 29. He's in his prime. Jenkins, he's 36, definitely out of his prime. He's also coming off of a loss, and he's got 2 losses in his last 5. So that kind of pushes me towards Kai. Kai's also on a 3-fight win streak. So yeah, I think it's a great value bet going with Kai at plus 130 here.
Love it. And I switched over to the regular season, to the PFL regular season. I realized that we had it wrong.
You gotta get people hyped up for Haney. No.
yeah, I know.
Cool. Next fight on the PFL, we got Goichi Yamauchi versus Neyman Gracie. Now, this is actually a part 2, but part 1 was in Bellator, I believe. So they're both making their PFL debut. Goichi Yamauchi, he did take the W last time, and I actually took time to rewatch that fight, and I was impressed. He kind of pieced up Neyman Gracie, and it was to the point where when he knocked him out, he actually just kind of dropped his hands because he was kind of timing it, and then I believe he just tossed in a hook, and he was out cold. Neyman Gracie also has 3 losses, I believe, in his last 5. And Goichi is coming off of a loss, so that kind of pushed me towards Neyman. But being a minus 285 favorite, it's super hard to go against him. He is also Neyman Gracie is also 35, but I don't know. I think also a bit of a flip of a coin, but I'd probably go with Goichi on this one.
No, I'm looking at all your notes and everything that you're saying, and I think that that's pretty reasonable. I would probably go. I think I'm going the same way. I don't love the odds, especially because of my limited knowledge of these guys. I think that I kind of like throwing his name into a parlay if possible on the money line, because I just feel like that's they're so what? Oh, Neiman's 2-3. Okay, sorry, I had it mixed up. I thought that they were both 2-3. Yeah, this feels like Yamauchi's fight to win. And yeah, the curse of 35. It's very few fighters have overcome that. So I think I'm with you on that.
Nice. Yeah, we're on the same page there. Next up, we got Gabriel Braga, minus 192 versus Justin Gonzalez, who's a plus 160. Both coming off of a losses, but Braga's got 4 wins in his last 5, and he just lost the last one, while Gonzalez has 3 losses in his last 5. Now, with that being said, Braga, he's Brazilian. I tend to favor the Brazilian fighters over the American ones. Might be the wrong move, but considering he's the favorite as well, he's 4 in his last 5. Hard to go against the favorite again, which is pretty boring, but they're a favorite for a reason. So that's got to be my call as well.
Yeah, I like Braga here. I think that's pretty. I'm sorry, I'm confused about how your notes are set up. Is it LW? Does that mean they recently lost?
Correct.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so I think so far we're kind of on the same page about all of these. I feel like Braga's kind of a trendy name too. I feel like he's a name that PFL probably maybe wants to push a little bit. So I like that one. Again, when I'm looking at all of these, because I simply I don't follow PFL as much as I follow UFC, I have to really sort of grade my picks on a curve. And all I'm doing is imagining all of these picks into a parlay of sorts. I'm considering should I take all the favorites into a parlay as I'm looking at this.
I know.
So, but yeah, no, I like Braga. This feels like a fight that he should win.
Yeah. No, with this, I feel like I'm a little uneducated. But yeah, going against the favorite's tough. But anyway, we got Logan Storley versus Shamil Musaev. Storley is the favorite. He's minus 205. Musaev is plus 170. Both coming off of a win. Musaev has a draw in his last 5, but he's on a tear. And Storley's got 1 loss in his last 5. I was 50-50 on this one. I really couldn't pick it. Musaev is he's also making his PFL debut. I believe he's coming straight from Russia. I don't think he's fought on this side of the hemisphere yet. So I think he's the underdog because the odds makers might not know him as well. But I think what the UFC has proved to us time and time again, it's that going up against a Russian fighter is typically a mistake. So I have to give it to the underdog in this one, simply because he's been on a tear. I think he's going to want to make a name for himself. And yeah, I would go with Shamil here.
So I don't know how many of the previous insider betting episodes you watched that I would do, but I have a rule about guys whose name ends in EV. If your name ends in EV or OV or anything like that, any sort of V in your name at the end of your name, I don't bet against you. It's just kind of a rule that I have where I feel like if I do that bet, if I bet on the guy whose last name ends in EV or OV every single time, I feel like I'm gonna have a winning play long term. I'm gonna make profitable bets long term if I do that. So I'm taking Shamil at a plus 170. I think that's incredible. And by the way, he has a draw in his last 5 fights, so he's technically 4-0 in his last 5 fights. So just saying, he's technically undefeated.
I agree. Yeah, going against an OVEV is a difficult one. It's funny. There's actually 2 OVs in the main event here.
I was just about to say that. So this is
you're gonna
that might be a coin
with
flip.
Your final pick.
It's no surprise to me that they are literally a coin flip bet too. The odds are razor thin.
Yeah. Well, okay. So our next fight here, this one seems like a no-brainer because I don't know these guys too well, and I'm gonna butcher this one. But we got Brendan Lafane, I think.
I think it's Lafane. I've heard people call him Lugain. I've heard people call him Lafane. It's Gaelic pronunciation of sorts, I think.
Yeah. Perfect.
So,
well, that means I'm not the only one butchering it, so I'll take that. But Brendan is a minus 535. So if you want to toss a couple of bucks on Pedro Carvalho, by all means do it. They're both coming off of a loss, to be fair, but Brendan is 4-5 in his last 5, and Pedro's got 3 losses in his last 5, so he's clearly not been too hot. Honestly, on paper, this seems like it's going to be a walk in the park for Brendan, so I would toss him in your parlay, maybe give you a little bit boosted odds, but I really don't see this going Pedro's way. But yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Brendan has become a sparring partner of Conor McGregor's over the past year, and in Conor McGregor's comeback to the UFC. So he's been chosen by Conor to be like his sparring partner as he ramps up in Ireland. Brendan is a former PFL champion. He won the featherweight title in 2022, so he's already experienced in that regard, which is probably why he's such a heavy favorite. I agree. I think that it's pretty much a lock. This would be my lock of the night. And again, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but I'm just going to throw it in a parlay because the odds are so bad. But I do feel like when you look at like his recent loss, you have to remember in that recent loss, he was like fighting I'm pretty sure a really high level opponent as we got later in the season. So I don't think that like he's going to be truly tested like this early on because he is kind of a big star for the PFL. So I would take Brendan pretty easily in this one.
Nice.
And if Conor's choosing you to spar with him, there's got to be something good about what you're doing. So
totally.
I like it.
I agree. Cool. Well, we'll go on to our main event. If you're just tuning in,
my theory.
We're about to test it. If you're just tuning in, we are going to be discussing Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia right away here. But to finish off the PFL3 regular season, we got Andrei Koreshkov versus Magomed Umalatov, which is a brutal pronunciation. Don't roast me for it. This kind of goes against my never bet a Russian fighter because we got 2 Russian fighters. But when you have 2 Russian fighters, you have to bet on the one from Dagestan.
Yeah.
And that's simply that's the only way I'm going with this decision. They're both undefeated in their last 5.
It's wild.
It's going to be a great fight, guaranteed. Probably going to spend a lot of time on the ground here, but Umalatov minus 135. That's a lock for me. So that's what I'm going with here.
Yeah, and I think if I'm going to adjust my rule, it would be that if your first name is like if you have like a Magomed, is your first name. I think I'm going to grade it on a little bit of a curve. I'm going to up your value a little bit. Yeah, I didn't realize he was Dagestani, and if he's Dagestani and these 2 guys are fighting against each other, one man must enter. Both men enter. One man must leave here. I like Magomed as well, and I think that you're getting pretty damn good odds.
Yeah. It's basically 50-50, right? Like there isn't much of a difference between the 2, I'd say. So it's definitely some good some good odds here, I'd say. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, I can't hear you at all. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I accidentally disconnected my mic.
Oh, there we go. I must have been talking over you. That's my bad.
Little thing on the side of my computer. All right. Well, yeah, I guess. What if I threw all my favorites into a parlay? I don't know what the odds would be, but yeah, go with the Dagestani guy.
Yeah, that easily. Okay, I'm going to switch off our overlay here. We're going to go over Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. Yeah, this is the fight of the weekend. I'm super excited for this one. Super excited. We haven't really seen Ryan be tested since his fight with Tank, which I know was only 2 fights ago. But I'm excited to see how he comes back against a big name again. You know, we don't often get these like massive name fights in boxing, I feel like. So when you have 2 heavy hitters go against each other, it'll be exciting. You know, you have Devin Haney who definitely packs a punch, although he goes to decision a lot of the time. You got Ryan Garcia, who the odds makers and reporters, I guess, say he's going to be quicker. He might not hit him as hard, But you got to watch out for that left hook, I guess, with Ryan, because that can really get Devin out, you know. But I wanted to get your thoughts first on the fight. What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, I think we're lucky that we're actually getting the fight first off, because I do think Ryan was trying to fight Rolly Romero for a little bit, and that fight ended up falling out. Not sure exactly why, but then we saw what Pitbull Cruz did to Rolly. So this was clearly a step up, and I was concerned for him taking this fight too soon, because I would have preferred that he fought Rolly first, so that he could sort of get some like build up. He's coming off of a win over Oscar Duarte, where he looked really good, but he had some like inconsistencies in the fight. He was implementing a shoulder roll, which was really strange. He didn't. I hope that he threw that away. This is a big step up, and it's on the level of Tank, basically. Like, you could argue who's better, Haney or Tank. It's on that level. Like, they are similar in that regard, just in terms of like high level opponent. And it really depends on what Ryan's been working on with Derek James. Derek James coaches Errol Spence. He coaches the Charlo brothers, or one of the Charlo brothers. I forget which one. And so he's a very good coach. But how much has Ryan worked on and figured out beyond his left hook? Because the jury's out on his left hook now. Everybody knows about it. It's no secret anymore. I think it's a good fight. My opinion really depends on how much Ryan is taking it seriously, because a lot of people think that he's not taking it seriously with his social media behavior. Everything he's been posting, like how locked in is he with training? Everything I've heard is that Ryan has been locked in and that he's just trolling with his social media stuff. So if that's the case, I think Ryan has a real shot. He has a puncher's chance, so to speak, and he has a damn good punch. So I give him a shot. I'm not going to give my pick yet, but I think it's a big uphill climb.
I agree. Yeah, all the social media stuff was interesting. You know, a lot of people wanted this fight to be pushed back. They didn't want it to happen so soon. I guess a lot of people are worried for Ryan, which is understandable. You know, he's a good friend of the show, so I think everything is okay with him. So I don't know if the fight should have been pushed back. With that being said, he did go through some stuff from what we're able to see from the outside perspective, right? But from what I've seen, he's only been in a 5-week camp as well. So it is a bit of a short camp, although I'm sure he took it very seriously. I'm sure he's ready for the fight. I think it's going to be super exciting. I hope we see a couple knockdowns. I hope we see a knockout. I don't think we will, but I still think it'll be an exciting fight overall. So no, I'm very excited for it. I looked up a lot of prop bets for this one.
Yeah.
And the prop bets got me thinking.
Well, I think that's the way to go, because the odds are pretty heavy here.
Yeah.
What is Haney at minus 750 or 800? What is he?
800 on DraftKings when I checked. So
yeah.
And then Garcia's plus 550. So Garcia's a great value bet. But what I was seeing is that the odds makers don't think there's going to be 2 knockdowns in this fight. So I thought that was interesting. To be fair, neither fighter gets knocked down a lot.
Right.
So that's fair. But when we saw 2 heavy hitters go at it last, which was Garcia versus Tank, I think there was 3 knockdowns in that fight, because I think Garcia got knocked down once, and then I think Tank got knocked down once, and then I think there was the knockout itself, which would count towards this prop bet, but I could be wrong on that one.
Right. Well, so yeah, he went down. Obviously, he lost on the body shot. Got dropped. He was fighting with Joe Goosen then. Ryan was fighting under Joe Goosen there. I think Ryan really went into that fight like with the Tank fight, trying so hard to make it a show. He really carried the promotion of that fight, which I think he's doing here. So I hope that there's like a disciplined approach in this fight, because Haney's a very disciplined fighter. He will just pepper you on the outside all day long. He's very much like Floyd Mayweather in that way. He'll stand on the outside and he'll get his shots in. He'll play a lot of defense. He's very good at not getting hit. And Garcia was trying so hard to hit Tank. That's where he opened himself up to getting dropped. I like the bet of going of Haney to win under 1.5 knockdowns. and I like him going to be knocked down. I think that's one that you highlighted too.
Yeah.
Garcia getting knocked down, but Haney to win by decision. That's a good one. We'll put that up. Hold on a second. We'll just put that up so people can see it. So if Garcia gets knocked down, but Haney wins by decision, it's a plus 300. Wait,
Yeah.
which one is Haney Garcia, Adam? Yeah, I want to make sure.
There's also Haney to win.
Yeah.
And there's under 1.5 knockdowns total. Doesn't matter to who. So I think that's a good bet. If you really want to play your cards, Haney to win with over 1.5 knockdowns, that's a plus 400.
Yeah.
Which could be interesting.
You know what's weird is I kind of like the idea of total. Do we have a total of knockdowns over? So it's plus 145 to go over.
Plus 320 to go over 1.5 knockdowns.
Oh, I was looking at total rounds. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
I feel like Ryan's gonna have a moment in this fight.
I think so too. I don't think Ryan's going out without a fight. I think a lot of people are like, a lot of people are assuming that if Ryan can knock down Haney, he's knocking him out, which I don't think is the case. I guess it's maybe because Haney might have not been tested as far as like we've seen so far, so it's a fair bet. And I do think Ryan has knockout power. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's going to knock out Haney with his first shot. I think if he's going to knock him out, I think he's going to have to knock him down once and then maybe knock him out the second time. But yeah, I think the over 1.5 total knockdowns could be a good little prop bet there.
And I think if you're gonna bet Ryan, you definitely and you're gonna focus on winning method, you really have to focus on him winning by KO or TKO, because I don't think he's gonna do enough to win by decision unless he just tags Devin very early in the fight, and then Devin's just like, compromise the rest of the fight. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think Ryan can potentially knock Devin down. I think there's a chance it's going to happen, and I think it's going to be like one of those crazy moments. But total over under on knockdowns 1.5. I'll take the over because I think Ryan might get one, maybe a controversial one where he hits him, and then like people are going to debate whether it's a slip or something like that. I feel like something like that will happen. And then I do think Devin will get one knockdown in this fight. So I would take the over under on knockdowns, but I will take it to go by decision. I agree with you, Adam. I like that.
Yeah,
I like it.
Well. I think a really good prop bet is also to have Ryan Garcia by knockout TKO. Sprinkle plus 800. That's a
sprinkle. Yeah.
I think that put a little bit on there. Could pay off real nice. But I would also bet on those other ones just to kind of put those against each other.
Right. Yeah. I like it. I always like to have a little sprinkle in there, a little backup plan. Just in case. I agree. I think it's going to be a super fun fight. I think that also in the past couple fights, we've seen Haney become a little bit more aggressive when he's fighting. So that just opens it up to more action, Well, I think ever since the fight against Lomachenko, where there was some debate about whether he won or not, I think that he has sort of been on a war path of really proving people wrong about that fight. So Garcia's got his hands full, man. This is a tough match. It's a good fight. I am picking Haney, but something's going to happen. Something crazy is going to happen in this fight that we'll be talking about afterwards. I'm excited for it.
I think so too. Yeah. No, I also got Haney. I think Haney's going to win. It's boring to pick him minus 800. But I think that's been the theme of this episode so far.
Yeah.
A lot of favorites, but I think Haney Garcia is going to be a great fight. I think Garcia is going to go in there. I think he's going to show the world that he's still legit. I just think it's going to go to decision. And I think it's going to be a super close fight. So it's just going to be an unfortunate turn for Garcia.
Yep. I agree.
Cool. Well,
all right. Well, hey, how did we do on our first live? It was a little bit. We had a little bit of a rough start with the overlays and stuff. I think we did okay. I think we got to.
I think we crushed that. Were there any? I don't have the stream pulled up, but were there any questions that you're seeing right now?
No, I don't see any in the chat.
No, sounds good. Well, if you guys got any questions, toss them in the chat. If not, I think we're gonna do this every Thursday. Hey.
Yeah, every Thursday we'll go live and we'll break down the fights.
We'll break down the fights. I think we're gonna try to do it around the same time every time. We went on at around 7:30 Central, 5:30 Pacific. We'll probably try to go on a little earlier next time, I think. Yeah. But once we get in a groove of things, you guys will see us week in, week out at the same time every time. So anyways, that was Insider Betting. We're back, and yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Oh, by the way, there's a weight bet. If $500,000 weight bet. If Ryan or Devin is a pound over for the weigh-ins, they'll be charged $500,000 per pound. So that's something to look forward to at the weigh-ins tomorrow.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let the fighters bet with each other.
Yeah. All right. Peace.
Cool. Peace, guys.